Can you do me a favor? Can you freak out a little? That's cool. Rob, can you post this on Facebook for me? This is something like this is live or so. So, as Nate and Sarge already mentioned, I'm part of this community. I'm TEDx Ambassador. I'm helping TEDx organizers, mentoring TEDx organizers, doing their event, curating their events, working with speakers. And usually I do the moderation of events like Sarge does today. So usually I leave the stage when a speaker comes. For me, this is quite new, so it's new for me as well, which is kind of fun. I would like to welcome you. I would like to welcome also the webcast viewers. There is a simulcast online. My wife's watching. Hi, Sigurd, love you. So the community is here and the community is online, and this is what happens with TED. So I owe you a bit of a figure that Sarge mentioned this morning, and that's 9,020. And this is the 9,020th TEDx event since 2009, the journey began. So allow me the pun, I would call this TEDx Super Baltimore. Before I tell you a little about the TEDx story, I would like to give you my personal journey that started with 2006 when a friend of mine sent me a link to the talk of Jeff Hahn, who introduced the multi-gesture interface. He was touching objects on a display with his hands and fingers. And I really understood that this would be the display of the future. So all the smartphones that we use today, they kind of use this basic technology that was introduced there. So since then, I decided I'm going to watch one TED Talk a week, just to be with what's happening there, just join this, this community in a way of online usage of this service. And 2008, I decided I want to go to the conference, to be there, to feel that, to see the speakers. And I applied for TED Global, which was in Oxford by then. And they let me go there. So you have to go through an application process to be approved to be there. So they're also curating the audience at their events. And it was a magnificent conference. I met TED Fellows, which is a sub-organization from TED led by wonderful Tim Raley, who holds together a group of magnificent young people who do great things. Like Alex Petrov was the first one I met at TED Global. He was, I don't know, he was a bit younger by then. I guess he's still younger than I am. But he told me, so he was asking what I was doing, and I told him, and then I asked him what he was doing, and he told me, yeah, I'm building cities in Kenya, which gave me that impression of, okay, there are outstanding personalities that you meet there. And the second one was Candy Chang, who's doing the various projects about neighborhoods, getting people out of the anonymity of neighborhoods. Many of you might know the Before I Die wall that has been installed in hundreds of cities today. So there have been at TED Global 2009, and Laura Stein came on stage, and she introduced the TEDx program. She said, if you like this, what's happening here, if you like TED, if you like the concept of inspiring people, you can do a TED-like event in your community and apply for a license and call it TEDx. So I thought it would be perfect for me. So I said, yeah, I want to have a license, and applied for TEDx Salzburg. This is Salzburg. This is the city we're not living in, but work a lot. So I thought when I'm working in the city, it would be nice to inspire the city with something that inspires me. So I chose to put the TEDx license for Salzburg and not for Vienna. And we organized our event in a beautiful string puppet theater with 250 seats, and we thought that the Austrian and Salzburg community would be more than happy that we bring TED there, because I knew TED for a long time when I organized the first event, and I didn't really consider if people in Austria knew TED as well. So some they knew, they were thankful, and they said, how can I help you? It's cool that you're bringing TED to Austria. Some they did not know. They said things like, what are you going to tell me that I don't already know? Which is kind of awkward. However, we did this event. We had 12 fantastic speakers, and it was a complete disaster. As I said, we had 250 seats. We had 90 people coming. 40 of them made arrangements for the afternoon. So the last session, the speakers were talking to 40 people, 45 people, which is, I don't know, the first 4 rows. And in fact, they were talking to empty seats. I was embarrassed beyond belief. But we continued doing this, and in year 2 we had 170 people and nobody was leaving, and so we're doing it for the 5th time this year. It's, you know, if you believe in something and you start doing it, you continue doing it, and it kind of turned out to be also cool for the people coming to our event. So first figures, 2009. Well, Laura Stein told me that she considered that it would be probably around 20 people for a year during the year who would apply for the license. Turned out to be 280 or 279 in the first year. Next year we met at TEDxActive. TEDxActive is, maybe to explain a bit, there are the master conferences. There's TED, TEDxActive, and TED Global. And TEDxActive is a simulcast event of TED. And while TED was in Long Beach, TEDxActive was in Palm Springs, and many TEDx organizers were already invited to go there half price, so I thought half price is reasonable, so I went there and we started organizing and helping each other as TEDx organizers how to set up this event, because there are so many TEDx organizers all over the planet, and everybody starts from scratch. They're producing these letters, and they're producing the X's and invitations and web pages, and it just makes sense to look for synergies and work together, and this is what we're trying to do on these workshops. 2010, we tripled the amount of TEDx events already. What you see here is Amsterdam, the Stadtschauburg, the theater in Amsterdam, where Jim Stolze is running the TEDx Amsterdam, which was the largest TEDx in Europe by then. And we decided to invite all the European TEDx organizers to come there after the TEDx event and to meet at the hotel to see how we can improve the program, how we can collaborate, how we can work together, how we can create some tools that everybody else can use and act as an open community that supports each other. Some of the TED people came there as well, and they invited me to, so they liked what was happening there, and they invited me to be TEDx Ambassador, which was pretty awesome for me. So I was like, cool. So, you know, TED, California, Long Beach, big thing, Niki, Vienna, like, okay, so be part of that journey, and yeah, today I kind of work 1 day a week for TED or for TEDx, and I really appreciate it, because wherever you go, you meet so many fantastic people. We have, I'm coming to the figures later, but we have 2,000 TEDx organizers today worldwide, or 2,000 cities. So wherever you go, you meet somebody who is on IACy, who would invite you to stay at his place so we can talk and exchange, which is pretty awesome. So 2011, we doubled the amount again to 1,847 TEDx events. As Nate mentioned before, 2012 marked the big next chapter. We invited, or the DFI, the Doha Film Institute in Doha in Qatar, invited all the TEDx organizers worldwide to come to Doha on a 4-day event in workshops, and we had opening TED and so on and so forth. So we were almost 800 people from 100 nations. This is the opening TED at the fantastic amphitheater in Qatar. And we had a cool combination of fun, of workshops, of community events that took all over this place. And we started with 6 TEDx actions. And groups split together and identified topics that would be relevant for the TEDx organizers. And these were these 6 actions. The TEDx how-to video action is the one that I'm leading. The idea is to slice the organization of an event like this into 2 minutes instructional videos. And we produced 5 videos in that 4 days. This is me presenting the videos to the TEDx organizers in Doha. And this year at TEDxActive, I was invited to continue with this program. And I think 20 people from the conference, and 20 TEDx organizers spent their spare time during the conference breaks to produce another 2 how-to videos. And Sarge was one of them. This is where I met Sarge, and this is the reason why I'm here today. And I would like to show you this video.
TEDx is an independently organized TED event, so TED stands for Technology, Entertainment and Design, and it's all about ideas worth spreading.
TEDx jest organizacja, gdzie ludzie około 8 minut jej temat prezentują.
So instead of just sitting as an audience, they feel, okay, now I can make a difference. Just let them shine.
Naja, ich würde sagen, ja, wir haben das angefangen, wir ziehen das auch durch und es wird ein Riesenerfolg werden.
Well, I don't think there's one best answer to this. Well, let's say TEDx Vilnius team meets every week, once per week, and then we have a lot of like chats and Google group and like Google spreadsheets where we have to update the status of the tasks.
Ich denke, ein Termin nach dem anderen ausgemacht.
You have to be prepared for unplanned. For example, I think that the children are like the greatest judges. So if they didn't like the talk, they will express that they don't like the talk, and if they do, they express this as well. And you have to be prepared, like, to interact with them.
Zu sehen, wie die Menschen aus Herzen sprechen und wie sie mit Freude ihrer Sache nachgehen.
I think you should try and keep it shorter. It's tough enough on us adults to have an all-day event. For the kids themselves, maybe half a day would be a better one.
Einen halben Tag, vielleicht immer 3, 4 Konferenzen, danach eine Pause von einer halben Stunde bis zur Stunde und dann wieder 3, 4 Konferenzen.
So as curator and licensee, I see my role as bringing together really bright adults and really eager students to collaborate on this work.
Der Moderator.
Tu kaip organizatorius turi pats beprotiškai tikėti idėją, renginiu ir tai perduoti ne tik savo organizaciniai komandai, bet ir vaikams, kurie dalyvaus renginyje. Antras dalykas, vaikai turėtų gauti kažką konkretaus, parsinešti namo iš renginio, su kuo toliau galėtų žaisti ir būti įtraukti į idėjas, į veiksmą, kurį turėjo renginio metu. Ir trečias pats svarbiausias dalykas, renginio metu tėvai turėtų būti kuo toliau nuo vaikų.
Also es soll einen lustigen Teil geben, es soll einen berührenden Teil geben und es soll bringen, dass man auch was dazu lernt.
So, familiar faces. Ruta was via Skype online. It was the second time she appears on this TEDx event, and my children recorded with their iPhones these little videos back in Vienna and sent it to Long Beach, Palm Springs to implement it as a whole video. Pretty cool. So 2012, 2,700 TEDx events. Last year we met for the second time in Europe. We were invited to do that at CERN, at the Large Hadron Collider area in Geneva. Bruno Giussani, he is the head of TED Global, was there, and another 100 people from all over Europe came at their own expenses, again, to work together and get this done, how we can support each other. 3,118 events last year, which is more or less 10 events a day if you take away weekends, where usually no TEDx event would make sense. So we have 37,000 talks on YouTube that have been viewed 200 million times. 271 of them, yeah, I think that's worth an applause. I mean, this is people like 271 of them made it on the TED Hall of Fame on TED.com. Last year, TED Global, the speakers of TED, were recruited, 50% of them were recruited through worldwide auditions that have been organized by TEDx organizers. So the TED and TEDx is really seeing each other as supportive and moving together. Different formats, how people see TEDx as a chance to get in other formats like a prison. There is Jordan Edelheit on the picture. She's producing the 5th TEDx in a prison in Marion Correctional this year. Nate, who presented me, took the TEDx flag to his Mount Everest tour. Jan Scheele from TEDx Maastricht invited the audience to start the first session in a train. Then we have TEDx Kids events. Then we have, together with IDEO, we have TEDx in a box for TEDx organizers who are in underdeveloped countries who don't have the means of technology to make an event like this. So everything they need to do to host a TEDx event would be in this box. And the question is, if something like this, like TEDx, grows that rapidly, if it's that big, people ask me questions, is it enough already? Is it a cult? Don't you be aware that there is a ceiling? Chris Anderson also was asked the question whether TEDx is a cult or not, and he said if it would be a cult, it would stop today. And he made that comparison that TEDxers are fire makers, and he said that fire was the most important invention of mankind. Everything changed with the invention of fire, and he said, this is a bit comparable to TEDx events. People on this stage, they're seeding out ideas, they're spreading ideas, they're doing things that are maybe uncomfortable for some of us or for some of their communities, but very important for many others. For me, cult needs leaders, and I think TEDx is something like there's leadership but no leaders, or if you would like to see it that way, maybe 2,000 leaders for every TEDx event. Like Sarge is the leader of his TEDx event, but there's not that one person where everybody is worshipping. And another point, how you can see this event is media. It's a way of communication. People who are standing on this stage, and you guys down there, you are 800 people who are watching the talks online, or the talks live here on stage, but millions of people can watch them later online all over the world. Brené Brown gave a talk in TEDx Houston, and next year she gave a talk at TED and said she was afraid that after these 700 people in the audience, there might be another 1,000 watching her talk on YouTube while she cuts the 10 millionth downloads until today, I think, something like that. So many people see this as a way of spreading their ideas, spreading their information to the whole world, not only to the audience. So you can see TEDx as a media as well. For me personally, the most important thing is the part of good news. We're living in a world where we're all fond of bad news, aren't you too? You open the papers and you just read bad news. You read failure, you read war, illnesses, whatever. Just browse through the newspapers and it's full of bad news. Coming up with concepts, coming up with ideas, something like what Jennifer presented this day, where she said, we're bringing production back to America. Isn't that good news? Isn't that cool? Isn't that something that we're really waiting for? And I think that's one of the strongest parts that what we're doing here. We're not leaders. As I said, we're seeding the ideas. We spread them out. We see where they grow and who can harvest what's happening with these good ideas. So that's something really worth spreading. And I believe that you couldn't live in a better place than today, with all this concept of sharing, of openness, of means of technology, of reaching the world as easy as it never has been before. It's a cool place to live in, and I think that's something that's my invitation to you today, to accept that it's not bad times, it's good times, it's cool times. And that's what happens on these TEDx stages, spreading good news, looking for good times, and my task for you is go outside and spread this news. Thank you.